And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
Let's do this. Oh, Todd, Father. Oh, we're bringing some of your friends today, Todd. You excited?
What's up? Oh, I'm very excited. I can't wait to talk to a couple of them. This is one of my shows where it's on, baby. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Kratz, I'll be with you the next 2 days, so please prepare accordingly for two decently sized men to be sitting next to each other at a table. Yes. There you go. That's good. Hold that whole show. Hold that. Nice.
Hey, Scott, you know what you should do?
Yes.
Do like a 2-hour hardcore workout and like don't shower and then sit next to him and see what happens.
That's what he
What'd
has
you
to
do?
deal with.
The big gorilla.
Yeah, the big gorilla is always stinking.
Let's
I
go.
thought that's your cologne.
Man sweat.
I love it.
Men's sweat.
All right, I've been told that we need to get right to business today
Let's
because
go.
we have
Yes.
4 guests. Okay,
My
so
fault.
I'll stop goofing around and give you all a minute. Now let's charge the damn mound.
Charging the mound.
Todd, Father, you used to play for the New York Metropolitans back in the day, and they had
Yes.
the largest payroll ever last year, and they didn't even make the playoffs. They were a pretty big disappointment. They shed Scherzer and Verlander, among others, at the trade deadline. They've won 6 in a row. They're 11 games under after being, They're 11 games over after being 11
Over.
games under 500 at one point, and they're in the thick of the playoff race, just a half a game back of the Atlanta Braves. Did you see this coming as we look at highlights of their big win over the Red Sox? They've now taken the first 2 in the series.
No, I actually did not. And it's, when I think about what they're doing right now, like honestly, it goes back to the year I played there. I hit that homer off of Sean Doolittle. And what was that? I forget what year, whatever it was. We got hot. We made it to a half game of a wild card when we were like 10 games out. And then we fizzled at the end. So are the Mets, is this the Mets here? Is this what we're going to see throughout September? Are they going to finish strong? Are they going to fizzle, which they've done before? And I've been a part of. Shameful. I'm sorry. But this is part of their mantra. They get really hot, and all of a sudden everybody gets their hopes up. Oh, it's our year again. Let's go. But are we going to pump the brakes on them? Or are they going to ride this out? I don't know. I hope they ride it out. There is nothing better than having 2 New York teams in the playoffs, guys. And I know you understand what that means.
So how hard was that, though? How hard was that? Because we talk about it all the time on here, like you push so hard to get within half a game, and then you fall short. I'm not saying for fans not to get their hopes up. I'm saying when you push that hard and then you're not even quite there, it's not like the Mets are like a game and a half up now. They're still a half a game back, and they've been pushing. I don't care who they're playing. They're beating them. They won 6 straight. But how hard is that then to continue?
It's very hard, and it's one of those things you feel like you're behind the 8 ball the whole time. And you know that saying, hey, when you're in first place, you got to play even harder because everybody is chasing you. Well, you still are 3 or 4 games above everybody, so you have a little leeway where you can lose 3 straight and you're still sitting pretty. Mets got to keep this up. They got to win 2 out of 3 each series. They can't get swept. They got to finish off the Red Sox. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, step on their throats and keep going. So we'll see what happens.
BetMGM is clearly seeing the game last night because they shifted the MVP odds from yesterday. It was Shohei at minus 2,000 and Lindor was plus 1,000. Today, Lindor's plus 650. So if you think the Mets are going to do it, I'm saying push everything in with Lindor. I'm just saying. That's a big jump in one day.
If he goes 50-50, I don't care what Lindor does. That's nothing. I'm sorry.
What if Lindor goes 50-50?
He's
What if he hits that many homers and stolen bases? Is he chopped liver?
Hey, he's got a better chance of winning the 50-50 at a high school football game than doing that.
Todd always be playing the 50-50.
Oh,
He's at
hey,
30 and 26, by the way, Lindor. 843 OPS, 137 OPS plus.
not enough time.
Just not enough what?
Time to reach that goal. I think we're all
No,
feeling
no.
so.
He's
It's
not.
exciting though.
He's
But
been
it is.
clutch as hell, though, too. I
Oh,
mean, I know it
man.
was him, multiple extra base hits that made a difference for them yesterday. They ended up pulling away. Pete got back on the board with another dinger, but it feels like Lindor's been doing this for the last several months. They need him in a big spot. He's getting a knock. He always plays, right? He's one of those consistent everyday guys, always plays really good defense, but the bat is really lit up. And also, Todd Father, he barely ever makes the All-Star team, right? Like he was one of the top snubs this year, and
Yeah.
yet he might finish number 2 for MVP. He's a 4-time All-Star, but how many seasons has he been in the league now? 10. And especially with the Mets, he has like a slow first few weeks, maybe even, a month and a half. And then that's what people look at for judging the first half of the season if you're going to be an all-star.
Yep. The what have you done for me lately attitude in the Northeast, which they know and love. They start that as a young kid when you're younger, man. Oh, you did good, 4 for 4. What have you done today? That's what my old pappy used to tell me. So which I love every second of it because we don't live in the past. We got to move on in the future. I know Kratzy instills that in his players too when he's coaching high school. Yeah, you're great. Cool. That's cool for the social media, but, struck out with bases loaded when it was a tie game. What happened then? So, yeah, no, listen, Lindor is a freak athlete. He's ridiculous. He's always been good. Couple snubs here and there. But overall, I think, when he's all said and done, he's going to look back in his career and be like, forget about it. I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time, and it doesn't seem like he's slowing down. I mean, he is in the prime of his career. Let me show you this tweet from John Harper, who's covered the Mets for a long time, does a great job. He said Justin Verlander struggling since his return from the IL, only 71 innings, gets the Mets off the hook for $17 million in 2025 because there was a vesting option. And then Scherzer's on the IL, so he only pitched 39 innings this year. And he said Steve Cohen's decision to eat money last year and move on from both paved the way for the 2024 success, with David Stearns making the smart signings of Luis Severino and Sean Manaea. I mean, Kratz, it's a money tweet. It's true. I mean, last year we looked at it and we're like, whoa, Steve, you want to jump in, Todd? Brother? It's like Uncle Steve's given up a lot here, in terms of eating money, but let's look at it over a 2-year period. They got prospects back, and now they opened up space to sign these two guys who are better right now.
Yeah, but this is typical New York Mets media, man, because everybody, when it happened, they're like, yo, what is wrong with this guy? Blah, blah, blah. Even the media, John Harper, all those guys, cut him down to rugs. And now all of a sudden they put a tweet out there to make them feel better about themselves. Yeah, it was the right move from the get-go. They're older, man. Like, listen, nobody knew they were going to get hurt. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, they're older guys. And you don't see many guys at their age dominating. Oh, they'll do good, but to get rid of them, yeah, it was a great job by Cohen and Stern and the staff. And they did everything. And that's what the Mets, they look for. Oh, we're going to bash them. Why would they do this? Blah, blah, blah. They just ruined their whole season. All of a sudden they're coming, oh, actually it was a good thing. No, they always revert back. And it's just a pet peeve of mine with these guys. And that's, we've always had some quarrels, which is fine.
I like that. I like Todd's fire on a Wednesday. But yes, like pitchers age differently than position players. The Rangers, they got what they wanted. They got a guy that contributed to their World Series championship. Whatever he's doing now, the Mets were afraid of that. And Steve Cohen, yes, he made the decision, but to me, this is David Stearns. Like not just saying, okay, you guys got rid of those two pitchers. We'll just kind of take a step back. They pushed in with two guys, Manaea, who had a great end of the season last year, changed some things. His velocity ticked up. Now he's showing that in their rotation this year. Severino, I never understood why Severino was doing what he was doing. And he's been able to unlock it. I thought he was going to be elite forever, and some injuries kind of curtailed that. This is a guy that knows how to pitch. This is where I'm fearful for the Mets, though. How are they going to stand up in the last month of the season? We're here. We talked about it in the offseason. They needed more. Senga went down. I'm excited to watch this September because this team, they have an opportunity. And if those two guys, they can ride them. They got to ride them all the way into October, too.
Yeah.
It's just a lot
Let's
of
go.
pitching.
Let's go. I'm rooting for him.
Hey, what did you see, Kratz? You thought that Severino was going to return to prime form? Is that what you're saying? He was quoted again the other day. I'm not going to, I'm going to paraphrase here, but saying, he kind of switched things up with the sleep, the health, right? Eating better, all of that. I mean, obviously, you need to pitch well. You need to have the arm care too. But he kind of got himself all together again. And you get the change of scenery. So you get to come across some other guys that work for the Mets that didn't work for the Yankees, of course, that might give you a tip or two. I'm not just saying, hey, here, let's talk mechanics. I'm saying anything in your everyday life, right?
That's why I thought he was never going to have a long, sustained slump as a pitcher because he was always searching for more knowledge. You see him in the media now, like he's ribbing guys. He's so connected to his teammates that guys like that don't just like start talking baseball and then check out of the conversation. He's always learning. So the more people that a guy like that gets put around, whether it's coaches, whether it's players, it doesn't matter. Like he's searching for knowledge. And and all that, he's got an elite arm that was touching 99 in his prime with the Yankees. So he's always looking to improve. And I felt like he shouldn't have stayed down. I didn't think he was going to withstand this entire season so far. I just thought he would kind of get tired at the end of the season. But learning that stuff, that's part of being a veteran. You learn and you make the changes. Or, as my assistant coach in college used to say, you get an after-school job, bruh.
All right, so they're chasing the Braves still. Let's get to them for a quick minute here because the Braves did what they were supposed to do. They were monster favorites against the Rockies, whatever it ended up being, minus maybe even 400, I think, before the game started. But Chris Sale was pitching against Colorado in Atlanta, and he went 7 shutty, 6 hits, no walks, 9 punch-outs. He's got a 2.46 ERA. Wheeler's at a 2.63. I was trying to think. I'm like, has there ever been a season where when's the last season that occurred where you had a Cy Young wrapped up so early on? I mean, I guess if Chris Sale doesn't pitch for the next 3 weeks suddenly, right? Something happens and then Wheeler shoves, then he's still got a shot. But you know what I'm saying here, Todd Father. This is going to be unanimous the way he's dealing right now.
Yeah, and I remember, if we recall, we had this conversation about it, and I said, I basically said, this is the guy right here. He was absolutely nails, and he's, he'll ump it up there. It's like amazing to see. He'll go from like 91 to 96 all of a sudden, and it's just the herky-jerky motion, the way he doesn't shake anybody off when he pitches. He's a guy that you want to put something down, all right, I'll throw it if that's what you think is best. And the comeback of what, he went through with some injuries and everything like that. Really special, man. And he's a special dude too as well. He's skin and bone. This dude is skinny as can be, and he is just chucking that pearl. I mean, honestly, I couldn't be happier for the guy. And if he does, and when he does, it's going to be a good moment for him and his family, and for his team.
It's locked up. This is locked up. I don't see anybody. I don't see Wheeler catching him. Wheeler had a great season. Sale has been dominant. And last night, if you watch the game, he wasn't just throwing the ball through the wall the whole game. Strikeout to Doyle, I think. He touched 97. Other guys, he was okay going up top with 92, 93. That slider, he can run that thing up to 84 miles an hour. He was getting some punch outs, slowing it down a little bit, down to 78, 80. Like, this guy he's elite when healthy, and he is healthy this year, and he should be a unanimous Cy Young Award winner.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Just keep shoving for the Braves, and they need it. They've needed every single start like this. Where are the Braves without Chris Sale this year? That's the best pickup of the offseason. Best pickup. Okay. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the Mets are playing the Red Sox right now. If the Red Sox still had Sale, just saying, like, we'd be talking about a different story.
Hey, we'll talk about the Royals later. They've lost 7 straight. The Red Sox offense was carrying the freight for most of the year, and now it's fallen off. I mean, imagine if the Red Sox, did some things with their rotation and their lineup in the offseason besides just Giolito and Vaughn Grissom, and maybe I'm missing one or two other.
Tyler
O'Neill. Yeah, but The Red Sox didn't operate like they used to operate. Imagine if they did. They'd be a wild card team right now. There's no doubt about it. Even if they did end up trading Sale, and that was just a much-needed change of scenery as well, because he just went through the injury bug, and some of it clearly was him being unlucky. A lot of those injuries weren't chronic injuries. But anyway, one more quick note. I thought it was funny last night when I was watching the game, because I'm like, I feel like every time I watch Chris Sale lately, Jorge Soler just does something brutal in right field.
Oh,
And it's true. You know you're correct when a beat writer is talking about it. Actually, both. Anybody that was covering the Braves last night that I follow on Twitter was all buzzing about it. They're like, here we go again. So Mark Bowman, who covers the Braves, said Cy Young Award voters should remember that Jorge Soler played right field for Chris Sale during the season's final 2 months. It's funny. I love Alex Anthopoulos, Todd Frazier. I love how he's very candid on interviews. But the one thing I'll disagree with him on, he was like, there's a lot, like Jorge Soler is better than a lot of outfielders out there. So we felt like we could put him right back into the outfield. And I'm like, I'm sure he's pretty bad. He looks like bottom five right now, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. You needed the offense, but he is pretty bad out there in right.
You got to take what you can get. And if he's a hitter, they could have pitchers that are POs only in travel ball now. And guess what? That's why they have the DH. I don't know, man. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny, man.
But Marcell Ozuna's like, seats taken.
Nope. Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. That'll be fun though. They can't put both those. I mean, they can't have Ozuna and Soler on next year's roster, but they'll worry about it then. I mean, he can't play out there full time, but we'll see. It's a good problem for them. All right, we'll talk to
win. That's why they made the move. They want to win.
Yes, and they knew they needed offense, so good for them. And they're still up a half a game. It's going to be a good race. That's the best race in baseball right now, that third wild card spot between the Mets and the Braves. Former Met, James McCann, is going to join us next. We'll talk to him about what's going on in his world and his playoff race and celebrate his 10 years in the bigs.
Ooh.
Godfather, do you ever have nasal congestion?
Oh my God! Every time the ball goes to the winner, bro. You know me. I got the coughing. I got the nasal drip. I got it all.
So we have the answer. It's called Navage Nasal Care, and I knew about it, but I had never tried it until a few weeks ago. And I will say this: I knew that I had congestion. I didn't know that I had congestion. Right? You don't know how you can truly breathe. So Kratz is the poster boy for this. So I'll let him take it away because I want to make sure he reminds everyone that it's not just how you feel during the day, but Kratz, how you sleep at night makes a big difference too. No?
Huge. It's not just how I sleep. I sleep like a baby, but my wife says I sleep like a bear. So if I'm sleeping great and my wife is not sleeping great because I'm snoring, ain't nobody happy in that situation. So the fact that it's been able to reduce my snoring is unbelievable. Like, it's so awesome. And I missed it the other night, and she was like, you didn't use your Navage, did you? I was like, no, why? Did I snore? She's like, yes. I was like, Grr. So now I'm hooked. Sorry. Hooked. Need some more salt pods. I'm running low.
Easy. We got you. Easy to refill and much needed, right? It's a small price to pay. So also it is drug-free Navage, and it uses 99.9% pure saline salt pods, no medicinal side effects. So let's get you set up with the promo code FOUL, F-O-U-L, Navage.com, Navage.com to get you relief from your congestion too. And you can get a Navage starter pack, including a nose cleaner with batteries included and 30 original salt pods like Kratz is talking about. Everything you need to get started, plus a free cleaning kit with your order, but only by going to Navage.com/foul and using promo code F-O-U-L. Again, that's Navage free cleaning kit, and you can find out full product details at Navage.com/FOUL and use the promo code FOUL. We're swinging back with James McCann of the Baltimore Orioles. Here we go. James McCann of the Orioles joining us right now on FT. You've got one catcher and you've got one Todd father, former Met just like you, but currently with Baltimore. James, great to have you on, man. How's life in the playoff race right now for you?
Man, thanks for having me. No, it's great. We talk about it all the time. This is what you train for in the off season. This is what you play for. Early March, and then obviously April through August is for a chance to show up to the ballpark every day in September, fighting for that playoff spot, fighting for that division title, and then planning to get hot as you head into October.
How is it being the premier team on the premier, young, look at all these guys, we're calling them up, they're 20, they're 22, and you're old as dirt on that team. How does that feel?
It's different. It seems like it happened overnight. It seems like I was the young guy yesterday, and here I am. I mean, heck, I guess it was last spring training. There's a Bible study that I attended, and it was hosted by the Holidays. And I show up, and I'm closer in age to Jackson's dad than I am to any of the players. So I ended up hanging out with Matt more than I hung out with the players.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous.
Did you play against Matt?
I did. I'd have to look up regular season, but I definitely remember him in spring training games. Spring training, a lot easier to hang out and talk to guys. Jackson's great. Matt's great family. But yeah, it's definitely strange being the old guy in the clubhouse.
Yeah, you probably never thought you were going to be there with your Detroit days, playing catcher or whatever it is. It's crazy how fast it goes, man. It's nuts. My question to you is, it's you and the Yankees right now battling for this AL East, man. What is it going to take for you guys to get over that hump to win the division? I know you guys are very good. I know the Yankees are good. What is it going to take for you guys to get over that hump and win the division?
Yeah, I think it's going to be whoever gets hot at the right time. We've gone back and forth all year. The last couple months for us in particular haven't gone great. The days that we've pitched, we haven't hit. The days that we've hit, we haven't pitched. We've had a lot of injuries. So I think one of the big things for us is getting some of these injuries, taking care of these guys back. We got some bigger names, hopefully, on the mend coming back soon, and guys like Westberg and Danny Coulombe and Webb coming back to help our bullpen. But Todd, you know as well as anyone, it's about who gets hot at the right time, and that's what it's going to take to win this division is which team can get on a roll and carry it deep into September and October.
When you guys approached the trade deadline, did you as a team sit there and go, okay, these are the needs that we want, or did you guys sit there and go, no, we can win with who's in here, but it'd be kind of cool if we got a couple of guys to fill this position?
I think a little bit of both. The injuries that we've sustained this year. We got Eflin back on, I guess it was Sunday, but there for about a 2-week period, you looked at our starting rotation that was on the IL, and that would be a really good opening day rotation if they're all healthy with guys like Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez and Eflin. So I think is kind of. We all knew that we needed some arms. We were running low on arms because of injuries, and the front office went out and got that. And sitting in a clubhouse, you never want to sit there and say, hey, we ain't going to win unless we get somebody. But at the same time, you also have faith in the guys that are in the clubhouse.
Me and AJ are normally on this show, so we're always talking catching stuff, and we're easily the best position ever. You were a starting catcher. Now you're a backup. So you've lived in both shoes. How hard, or not how hard, what happens more often? You get all these new arms. Do you say, okay, hey, as the Orioles, this is how we call games? Or do you say, oh, okay, Sir Anthony, this is what you've been doing. We're just going all strengths.
A little bit of both. When you have a guy like Eflin who comes in, he's done it at a high level for a long time. It's figuring out what he does well and, maybe tweaking a thing here or there based on a specific lineup that we're facing. But a guy like Sir Anthony or even Soto down in the bullpen, it's strengths, man. They've pitched to their strengths their whole career, and there's no sense in changing it when they get here.
All right. Now you got to take us to that day. We're not going to show the video. You are an absolute beast, and you look like kind of like a poor man's Dennis Rodman now with your mask on that you wear. But getting hit in the face is something that every 12-year-old fears, every 22-year-old prospect fears, every 39-year-old veteran about coming out of the game, leaving the game fears. What was the thought process and the moment when you were like, I'm staying in this game and I'm going to be an absolute beast while doing it?
Yeah, honestly, gosh, since I can remember, go back to like Little League and high school. When I got hit by a pitch, I never wanted the pitcher to know that it hurt, even if it did. It's just kind of one of those things where I wanted to I'm tougher than you. I'm going to make sure you don't think that you hurt me. That was the first time I've ever been hit in the face. And when it happened, obviously I hit the ground, and I know it wasn't good, but it's kind of like I feel like it's slow motion on the ground. And I was kind of thinking, all right, as long as I feel okay, I'm going to do everything I can to stay in this game. And, my biggest concern was like where the ball hit me in my eye, and then obviously concussion type stuff. But as the trainers got out there and Hyder got out there, I realized that, mentally I was fine. There wasn't any issue with concussion. And, I think the first words out of my mouth were I'm going to need a new pair of batting gloves, because I knew that I had a lot of blood in my gloves. But yeah, no, especially that game, it's the first inning of a doubleheader. And I know that if I come out of the game here, then Rushman is going to be on the hook to catch, the next 17 innings. So I knew I was going to do everything I could to stay in the game. And, honestly, I'm blessed that, the ball didn't hit me half an inch over and crush my eye, potentially end my career.
Yeah, very thankful, very grateful, of course, and glad that you're okay. And also, I'll give you props on the media side, because that's my job here. And you're doing the post-game interview, and you're like, yo, I know my face is messed up. I feel like that's even the next level. You're like, I don't want them to know that they hurt me, but then now I'm going to show the whole world I'm good. I'm just doing my post-game interview. I just look a little bit different, right?
For sure. No, honestly, it's funny. Right off the dugout, there's obviously the bathroom, and I'd say guys usually go to the bathroom every 3 to 4 innings, depending on who they are. But I remember it was like the third inning that day, someone came up to me and said, hey, don't go to the bathroom today. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, and I think it might have been one of the pitchers. I think it might have been Dean Kramer. He said, you don't just hold your pee, don't go down there. I said, why? I said, because you don't want to look at your face right now.
Oh man.
So I did not go into the bathroom the rest of that game, because I just didn't want to see what my face looked like.
That's a good teammate right there. Well, the face is great. You're back on track. Everything looks good and intact. So one more on this. Whit Merrifield got hit by a pitch yesterday, and he was really ticked about it. He voiced his displeasure after the game. He's on our show quite frequently as well, and he's on the rules committee. Just want to get your thoughts on if there's any way to cure this, and if you feel like it's any different from what it was when you first entered the league. By the way, congrats on 10 years of service. So do you think that it's a legit problem, and is there even a way to solve, guys getting hit by pitches that are faster than ever?
Yeah, gosh, I could talk about this for a while. The first thing for me is the style of pitching that's being promoted through the systems and coming up to the big leagues is the grip it and rip it style of get on the mound, throw everything you can as hard as you can, and aim towards the middle of the plate, and where it goes. And that leads to these hit by pitches and these balls that are up around guys' heads. You look back across the history of the game, especially 15, 20 years ago. You got guys like Pedro and you got guys like Roger, and they're throwing hard, man, but they knew where it was going and they controlled the ball. It's a little bit different now. It's guys are just throwing as hard as they can, and it leads to strikeouts, it leads to walks, but it also leads to these hit by pitches. So until that style is kind of taken away and it's more about control. I mean, heck, when I was coming up, it was control down and away. That's what we're going to throw. We're going to throw down and away, and we want to show up, we want to show in. That's fine. Or maybe we got a sinker guy who's going to go hard in, soft away. But you didn't have those guys that just grip it and rip it and throw as hard as you can. And then the other thing, and this is more of an old school mentality, is the game, MLB itself has punished pitchers for retaliating and for protecting their teammates. So really, there's no consequence for pitchers that do hit somebody. They don't have to step in the box anymore. The DH got them covered. So as a pitcher, there's no consequence when you drill somebody. Whereas a few years ago, you drill somebody, and someone on your team's getting drilled, and it's just the way it is. So the fact that that's kind of been taken away from the game, and whether that's right or wrong, there's just no consequence for when pitchers let a ball loose and it ends up around someone's head.
Yeah, very. It's hard because I know that you've been hit a couple times. I remember the one I was there, the one in Detroit. Oh, that whole fiasco, that was insanity. But
Oh,
10
yeah, I
year,
forgot.
yeah,
Yeah.
10 year. You got 10 years in the big leagues now. Congratulations. That's so cool, man. That's a feat that not many people are going to get to anymore, the way the game's going. But congratulations there, and congratulations. Not only are you good at baseball, you're good at off the field stuff too as well. So you're involved in Adopt a School campaign with Harlem Park Elementary Middle School. If you want to talk about that a little bit, and you're visiting the NICU on Tuesday as well, man. Talk a little about what you do off the field.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer that this platform I have it's important to give back to the community and just share what I've been blessed with. So the school, Harlem Park, we adopted as a team, and it's Friday nights when we do the community outreach, or I'm sorry, what are our uniforms called? The City Connects.
Connect.
Yeah, the City Connects. We always bring some kids over from the school, and they hang out during BP, and every player signs for them. But I went over to the school and I did PE class with them. They set up a baseball day, and we just in the gym hit off the tee, threw ground balls to them, played catch, whatever it is. But just kind of being there with them and being a role model for some of these kids that maybe don't have a role model at home, especially a male figure. Role model at home is so important to helping them grow and develop as young human beings, young men. And then as far as the NICU goes, my wife and I, we have twin boys that were born premature, 10 weeks premature, and spent 7 weeks in the NICU. So that's one of the areas that we focus a lot of our give back to. And yesterday I was able to go to the local NICU here and meet some families and hang out with the parents and share our story, share pictures of our boys now 6 years post NICU graduation, and kind of give them that hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel, despite how hard these days are. And the NICU's a little bit different because unless you've been specifically touched by a NICU, you don't really know what goes on in there. So if you've never been affected by it, I didn't even know what the NICU was until our boys were there. So there's not a lot of people that understand what you're going through. So the fact that I'm able to go back and share my story and share some love on these people, it means a lot to them.
I think a lot of people don't even know what it stands for. Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, for people to understand. So if people want to look up, obviously, what that's all about. I know probably somebody knows someone that's had to spend some time in there, with one of their kids. And by the way, a lot more information, we can post it somewhere on the Adopt a School campaign as well. All right, let's finish on kind of weird one. So you're in a series against the White Sox. You played for the White Sox. What are your emotions when you're playing against a team like this? Because on one side, those were some of the best times of your career on an individual level. On the other, you are literally taking on what could be the worst record of all time. Like it is happening, right now. So does it feel kind of full of emotions when you play this team this year?
Not so much, just because there's not a lot of guys there that I played with. It's a completely different looking team. There's a couple guys like Luis Robert that's still there. Crochet was coming up. He was drafted and pitched in that shortened 2020 season when I was there. But other than that, I don't know a lot of those guys. So it's obviously the White Sox is a special time. We loved our time in Chicago, but it's just a little different. Same thing like Detroit. As Detroit started to change their personnel, it became less personal as far as knowing guys across the diamond. But you still always have a special place in your heart for those teams you played for.
James, we appreciate the time, man. What do you got going on as we say goodbye? What's going on behind you? We got a little
Man,
guitar action?
I'm sitting on my balcony right now, and there's a pavilion right across the water here in the Inner Harbor in Baltimore. It looks like they're gonna have a concert tonight. They're doing a little sound check, I think.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'm sounding good. Everything sounds good. But no, it's perfect timing. James, great to have you on. Thanks again. Congrats on 10 years of service, and good luck to you and the Orioles on this postseason push right now.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you. James McCann, Baltimore Orioles, with us on FT. Swinging right back. A lot more to go. We're keeping it moving, but you guys got to help fill in the blanks here. So what was the hit by pitch situation? That was Tigers White Sox? What was that?
No, Tigers Yankees.
Oh, Tigers Yankees.
When
Okay.
Higgy got in,
Three fights in one game.
when
No
Miggy
way.
got in Austin Romine's face, and then the benches cleared, both Miggy and Gary both got in a fight and were suspended by the league. This was in August. And so in September, Higgy was hurt. So they called the Indians and traded for me to go over to the Yanks. And I got to play with the Yanks for September because Higgy was hurt. He wasn't ready. And those two guys were going to go on suspension at the beginning of September.
Very
So
true.
you want fights back, Kratz. You want fights back.
100%. 100%. There was a lot of retaliation pitches even after the Romine and Cabrera
I
fight.
got hit.
You got hit, Todd? You caught a
Yeah,
stray?
it was on purpose. I kept asking if it was on purpose, and come meet me wherever, and it just never happened.
Nobody met you? You were in the hallway waiting to duke it out and no one showed up?
No, I didn't do that on the field, but he walked off right after he hit me, and when I looked back, and McCann was holding me back, it wasn't on purpose. So, it's water under the bridge now. But if I see him, I'm looking for it.
Who is this guy? Who was it?
I
Do you remember?
I can't remember.
Was it
his name.
Albuquerque?
No, he was a right-handed reliever. Didn't throw hard. That's terrible, man, because I had it in my head for like 5 years. I was going to find him, and I never faced him again.
Never
I'll
got
have
your
to look
home run revenge.
I
We'll look it
remember
up.
Mike Pelfrey was his good buddy, and Pelfrey was like, "Yo, Frazier, he didn't mean to, man. He wants to talk to you about it." I'm like, "No. He'll get it."
Old
Does that
Pelfrey.
happen?
Old Pelfrey.
Oh my God, yeah. He would make this weird like noise. It was, I don't know. He put 125 pieces of bubble gum in his mouth at one time.
A real 125?
His mouth was like this wide.
Holy.
Incredible.
Damn. He was a big dude, right? 6'4", 6'5"? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was 6'6".
6'6".
Took all his
yeah.
money. Took all his money on the plane flights too. Sorry.
That pitcher who hit you, he's still waiting to get your number so he can apologize.
He
Derek,
knows where
find
you live,
out.
Todd.
Derek, you got to find out.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Shohei Ohtani back in Anaheim to take on the Angels. I mean, he was pretty professional as he often is, or as he always is in front of the media. It's pass the pass, forward thinker, all of that. He loved the time there. Kratz, what did you feel like game one of that series looked like? Was it what you expected? I thought, they handled a few things nicely. You mostly got the ovation early on. Dodgers won the game. Mookie comes through late with, a little extra. Obviously, he had the knock earlier, too. Ohtani had the triple in what was that, his second at-bat. But the only other part that stood out to me was, they were trying to poke and prod a little bit and be like, what if the Angels matched that offer that you got? And he was like, there wasn't an offer. He goes, in reality, I wasn't made an offer, so I can't say. Now, with the language barrier, I'm like, was he trying to be like, yeah, they didn't even make an offer, so screw him? Or is he just saying, yeah, they didn't make an offer, so I can't really give you an answer?
You couldn't insinuate from his Japanese sarcasm?
No, I gotta get back on my Babel game.
Yeah, they don't teach you sarcasm there. I mean,
No.
this is much ado about nothing. He wasn't ever going back there because they didn't ever want him. And yesterday was cool because that's the one thing that the Angels did really well. They knew how to promote Shohei. They saw him as something to promote instead of something to build around, in my opinion, the whole time he was there. And reason they didn't trade him at the trade deadline, they saw 2 more months of promoting and selling whatever they needed from Shohei Ohtani. And it's sad his time there didn't end up differently, but it set him up for what he has now with the Dodgers.
Shohei is a beast. I don't think it was sarcasm. I think honestly he's like, yeah, in reality they never offered me, so we'll can't answer you. So I mean, I would have loved to see him say, yeah, I probably would have came back, or most likely no, but that's just what we got from him. So he doesn't like talking to the media anyway, so at least we got something out of him, which is good.
That's true. You know who stole the show, actually, in yesterday's game? Ben Joyce. Almost 106. That dude's just they got to call him like Guinness or something. Like he does not hold back. It's actually ironic. The next topic we'll go to kind of has to do with this, but his mission is to throw harder than anyone else, and he's doing that right now. And that was the 3rd hardest pitch ever thrown during the pitch tracking era since 2008. And Todd Father was the hardest pitch ever thrown for a strikeout pitch. So that was 105.5. He was feeling it. Imagine if that dude was in a playoff or World Series game, he's going to break it.
Yankees should trade for him. They need somebody like that in the bullpen for sure.
Good luck getting him. We're going to get to Clay Holmes. There's no doubt. But Kratz, you want to get to this Whit Merrifield quote, which I'll kind of weave my way in and out of bleeping because it actually has to do with this. Now, Joyce is pitching really well for the Angels, but there's some dudes that throw as hard as they can. And I encourage everyone to go back and listen to the James McCann interview if you missed it. But Whit was hit by a pitch. CT scan, whole deal. He's okay. He said, the way pitchers are throwing now, there's no remorse or regard for throwing up and in. These guys are throwing as hard as they can, and they don't care where the ball goes. It's just bleep because you can't hit a guy back anymore. There's no fear that if I hit this guy, our guy's going to get hit. That's not in the game anymore. Pitchers don't have to hit anymore. And he said he was going to bring this all up during his rules committee meeting, which actually takes place today. So we'll grab Whit next time we can, and we'll ask him about what went down. Glad that he's okay, first of all. But Kratz, do you agree with James McCann that it's kind of a foundational thing with the game, and until something changes where control is more valued than velocity, there's not much you can do?
100%. There's no, I mean, I don't see any way other than umpires not getting in the way right away. And maybe get off my lawn kind of thing because they're trying to curtail fighting. But I don't see guys fighting just because somebody's getting hit by a pitch. You're going to be more mad because there's no retaliation. There's no chance to retaliate because as soon as somebody gets hit, all of a sudden, if you're chirping at the other team, boom, they're out there. The umpires are like, both sides are warned. Well, now we didn't even get a chance to retaliate. And what the thing you kind of glossed over, Whit got hit right here. He got hit in the neck, lower neck, upper trap area. Like, that's scary. You're turning your face away so that you don't get hit by the pitch. That's scary. So there's some explicitives in there. There's some curse words. The rules committee, that'd be great. I hope they bring it up. But reality is nothing will happen for the players because the rules committee is made up of 4 players and 6 non-players. So you know who's going to vote what.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there was a stat on this guy. His name was Jeff Criswell, who actually hit him 71 walks in 121 innings. It starts in the minor leagues, dude. These guys have to figure out a way to make these guys throw strikes, whether it's moving them around, trying a new arm angle, trying a new pitch, moving the grip on the ball, something like, listen, everybody throws hard. You don't want to go up there and at the plate, scared like, shoot, There was a couple guys in when I played, I was like, I'm going to back off the plate a little bit. But it's frustrating. It's very frustrating, especially you get hit in the leg and the back and the butt. Okay, arm. But it's upper tank, man. So I don't know what they can do. But I think these coaches have to develop these kids a little bit better before they get up there.
And I love minor leaguers getting called up quickly. If you're talented, don't waste bullets, but that means even less development, and you're probably going to have some control issues that you work through up in the majors. That's a problem. So we can only talk about it in the media, and we'll talk to Whit about how that meeting went next time around. Oh, Mark behind the scenes said, what about 2 bases for a hit by pitch?
That is a great idea. It won't happen, but it's a great idea. I love it. If you're not going to let other teams retaliate, it's a good thing we got Rolaids or the relief pitcher of the month coming on, or maybe just the pitcher of the month coming on next.
We'll ask him about it. Josh Hader is going to join us on FT, Mr. Houston Astros closer, just dominating through this season. And the Astros are dominating since the first month, too. We'll get to all that on FT. It's a good shopping section here for Todd Father. We're just telling him everything he needs to get. So next up, okay, Todd Father?
I got my pencil and pad.
Orgain.
Orgain?
Yes. Perfect. Nailed it. And Orgain.com/foul gets you hooked up with 20% off your order. Erik Kratz, what is the taste like?
It's like I have chocolate. I don't have any other flavor but chocolate. It's a chocolate
me
milkshake.
too. But I'm saying, give me a consistency description, because you've been there, I've been there. Especially, I mean, early on in my weightlifting days, and someone's like, "Yo, try this protein shake," and you're like, "Oh,
It
Yeah.
tastes like
Yeah.
It tastes like you're trying to drink the powder,
Concrete.
and it is not Orgain. Orgain is seriously like, think about when you got a cold glass of chocolate milk poured for you as a kid, and you're like, this is refreshing. Because normally you drink a protein shake and you're like, all right, here comes the aftertaste. You're like, okay, this is good for me. 30 grams. This is really good. Big gains. No, you're getting your gains because it's 30 grams of protein, but you're also like, I kind of want a second one because it actually tastes good. Pour it on a little ice. Tell me about it.
Come
Exactly.
on, man. You guys are pissing me off. I haven't got mine yet. Here.
I'll bring
Wait till I
you. I'll
talk
bring
to
you
the
a
people
case
behind
over.
the scenes. Come on, baby.
I got you. I'll bring you a
I'm
case
trying
over.
to eat better and get some better stuff inside my body here. Let's go.
I'm going to send you a little order, okay? Yeah, the brand new 30-gram complete protein shake offers protein-packed real nutrition designed to satisfy those cravings without all the sugar. So you can go order that either at Costco in person or Orgain.com/foul if you want to get in on the discount, 20% off your order. Once again, Orgain.com/foul, F-O-U-L, for 20% off. Use that promo code FOUL so they know FT sent you. Back on FT, it's Braun, it's Kratz, it's Todd Father, Josh Hader joining us soon. And I forgot also, he's AL reliever of the month, obviously. When you guys get any accolades or you just get any kind of news like a player of the week kind of deal or something like that, even in the minor leagues, Kratz, because like when you find out you were going to be in the AAA All-Star game, is that the PR person that comes to you and breaks the news first when you win anything in your pro career? Who tells you that?
For the minor leagues, it was always the general manager of the minor league team, which I guess kind of doubles as the PR guy / ticket sales. But they always came. That's who always came to me, because then they were like, "Who's all going to come to the game? We'll pay for them to fly out." Blah blah blah. So that's who would come. But I was going to say, when it would happen, like you get player of the week, I had a couple player of the weeks, but a couple all-star games. Only one time was the all-star game was I like, I think I should get in the all-star game again. Every other time I was kind of like, oh, me? Really? Sweet.
What about you,
there-
Top Father?
Yeah, no, I think would be the GM came in, and then whether a regular manager on the baseball team would want to tell the news, they would talk it over and then do that. But he was talking about flying somebody out. I mean, they would pay for their families to fly out in the minor leagues. I've never heard of that. I wish I was on the Columbus Clippers when that happened. Jesus, that's incredible, by the way. That's really nice. He probably got a PJ too while he was at it. But yeah, no, and then as you got older for the All-Stars, it would be the manager that came out and told you for sure.
Did you ever get like a player of the week or any of that stuff?
I have. I've gotten like a rookie of the month, a player of the month.
Yeah.
I
Who
think
tells you that? Did
one
you
time.
care, and who told you that? I mean, obviously you care now,
I think
right? Like at
that-
the time, yeah.
I think that came from the PR department, the head of PR in Cincinnati. So, yeah, it's a really cool feat. And, you either make it like a little bit of a big deal. You have the manager come up, hey, guys, just so you know, Todd got the player of the month for dominating. Let's go. Let's pick up the pace. Keep going, in a quick meeting. And then that would be that. How about you when you got asked to do the World Baseball Classic? Who told you? Your boss?
I would hope so. Damn, was it my boss or
They told you before the season started, these are your days?
Definitely not. They told me everything like day up, but no, they gave me some heads up, not much. But no, the person I worked with on scheduling, so she was the real superstar back in the day for me
No
when I was
doubt.
traveling
They
all over
always
the
are.
place. Because she'd get those last minute calls. Hey, my dog ate my homework. We got to call Braun. It's
Yep.
like, hey, he's got one off day. He's probably down the shore with his family. Got to get him on that 2-hour drive back up north, and hopefully he'll make it in
exactly.
time. That whole
Pain in the
deal.
butt.
Yeah, not ideal. So yeah, a little bit different from you guys. Did you really care about it when you got it? Like, what was the one you said you got a rookie of the month?
Yeah, I've gotten player of the month and rookie of the month when I played. Yeah, it means it definitely care because they're thinking you're the best player for that month pretty much in the National League, and you're like, damn, I'm top dog right now. Not really cocky or funny about it. It's a really good feat, knowing that you're doing something really well, and you want to keep it up for sure. It means a lot.
What if a player was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm pumped about this. I'm feeling it right now. Because how, I mean, I've done a ton of interviews like back when I was at MLB, and we would bring guys on when they won a certain award, especially like the weeklies or maybe the monthlies. And they'll be like, it's just about the team. We're just trying to win games and all that. I'm like, but
Yeah.
aren't you kind of excited? I'm not saying, hey, pop bottles, you won the MVP or you signed a $100 million contract.
Listen,
But
baseball is a team sport, but there's a lot of individual stuff that goes along with it, and you will take it every day of the week. That means not only are you doing something for yourself, but if you're doing well, you're actually helping your team. So it's an honor to get some of those feats, most definitely.
yeah,
It's an honor as a teammate to see your teammates do well, to see your teammates like you scored a run for that guy, or you got a runner over for him to get the RBI, the RBI total. I remember when Yelly was going for, most people don't remember, 2018, Yelly was going for the Triple Crown to the last game of the season. And he was close. So we're like, obviously we wanted to win. We wanted to catch the Cubs. We ended up playing a 163. But it was something that it was awesome to see runs scored for him. Guys get on base because you're like, you grind us that bat out.
Don't be stupid. Let's go.
Yep. So it was good. So you're like kind of, you're pulling for your guy. It's not a selfish thing.
how much was it brought up that last week?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
All the
You
time.
mean Triple Crown?
Yeah, for him. I mean, not media wise. We know they're bringing it up, but there's that whole player brushing off individual accomplishments to the media vibe. So you always wonder, okay, you have to say that to an extent, but are the guys like, yo, this is what you need today, and this is what so-and-so, whoever he was chasing or whoever was behind him on a category, what was going on? You're almost like scoreboard watching a little bit.
Oh, it was definitely scoreboard watching. But Yelly got there real late. Like he got within the home runs because he hit like 2 multi-home run games within like 3 days. And he was like, I think 1 behind Arenado. Like he got all of it really close. I forget exactly all what was going on, but it was awesome. It was awesome. But we were so wrapped up in the race too for the division that, you know, we'd get our jokes in and then he'd just go out there and hit like, I think he hit like 410 or something for the last 2 months of the season. It was a joke to watch.
When they get hot too, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Scotty, you're real
You just got muffled,
metallic-y.
yeah.
So we'll talk. Hopefully, reset your link and we'll get you.
Get some static guard.
The fans want to see Scott's face, but right now we're just going to go no audio for Scott. So for everybody on the podcast, just imagine his muscles being ginormous and his hair being super luscious. But Todd, did you get for Player of the Month or Rookie of the Month? Did you get a plaque or like a plate or something?
Yeah, no, most definitely. I got it. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't seen it yet. All the stuff I got in here. No, it's hidden somewhere around here. But yeah, you would get this like kind of crystal looking thing. And it was really nice. But, you know, as we move forward here, let's take a quick tease break and we'll come right back.
Yeah, we'll hit break and then we'll get the big old hater time. Little haterade for your bush.
We're talking today about Josh Hader and his fastball, which I didn't realize that I've never talked about up until the last Sunday Night Baseball. And he has a unicorn fastball that a lot of people don't understand. And I'm about to throw some big terms out there, so bear with me. But Josh Hader's fastball is considered a sinker. Now, Kratz and Todd Father, does that look like a sinker to you? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Not
So
at all.
he throws a 2-seam grip that rides. If it was classified as a 4-seam, it would be the highest induced vertical break, the highest vertical, like the second highest in the major leagues of any. And he throws a grip that is not supposed to ride. And how he does it is by spinning the ball and making it wobble back and forth. Now, it took me a while to wrap my head around this a little bit, but what it is he uses seam shifted wake, which a lot of people are using for their changeups to get a ball to go the opposite way that it looks like it's spinning. Like if you guys saw a cutter and then it went the other way, that would be jarring as a hitter. And that's what seam shifted wake is doing for guys. What Josh does is create seam shifted wake that creates that same force on both sides of the ball, not just one. So basically he creates this, it's like he creates a gutter like in bowling, and the ball stays in this air tract, which makes it carry. And there's no other pitcher in the major leagues now since 2015, since these things have been tracked, that has done anything remotely close to it. Add the fact that he throws 98, and you have Josh Hader's fastball. And that's why it's so hard to hit. It's because hitters see a sinker high, and it doesn't run at all. It stays true and is high velo, obviously. And that is how Josh Hader gets so many people out, or gets so much swing and miss on a sinker up.
Yeah.
75% of the time. And it's like Mariano Rivera's cutter. He had the most vertical break by 5 inches of anyone in history, including Kenley Jensen. Like nobody's gotten even close with how sideways he made his go and stay up. And to this day, we're designing these pitches, and still no one can design that one either. So sometimes guys just have something about their bodies that they're able to do something other people aren't doing. And that's why Josh Hader has been who he has been for a long time. But we're just now finding out about this, and it's fascinating for my nerd brain.
Hey, we are back on FT. Scotty Braun, Erik Kratz, Todd Father, and Josh Hader from the Houston Astros joining us right now. Josh, you got us, man?
Yeah, what up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Hey, what's up? Not as good
Not
as
much.
you and your ball club, man. So, how's life with Houston, especially now that you're settled in and so is the team after a rare, first few weeks where they weren't off to a hot start? And, can you walk us through some of the differences with your life with Houston versus, past times with San Diego and with Milwaukee?
It's been great. I think we knew where we were. We knew that we just got to keep putting our heads together and keep playing good baseball, and everything just aligned the right way. I think, as you know, we play 162 games for a reason. That's why it takes a lot of guys to do the right things to put your team in a position to obviously be in the lead for a division. So we're still not done, but we have a lot of help that's coming in, guys stepping up in big ways, and I think that's what makes a really good ball club. And obviously, like this organization can definitely be up there for a dynasty.
Kratz, you there?
The team. I'm here.
Oh, okay, go ahead. We didn't hear you for a
Is it
second.
not? Is it not working? Hader,
You're
can
good.
you hear
You're
me?
good.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. So you came into this team. Pretty much the rest of the team is exactly the same. In that first month, did you ever look in one of your 90 mirrors in the suite of your hotel that you now get every time you're on the road and go, are we losing because of me? Is this my fault?
No, never. I think that's just baseball. You're gonna have times where you guys just feel like you're just not playing good baseball. You lose a lot of games. You just obviously don't want to lose a long streak of games. But as a team, you want to get that out of the way early because you don't want to hit that towards the back end of the season because that's where all the momentum goes in the playoffs. So. If you look at any team in the big leagues, there's going to be a dip somewhere in the season where they just somehow can't figure it out or can't figure out how to win ball games. And we knew we had too much talent, too many guys that played the game the right way to keep that trend going. So we just knew what we had in that clubhouse. We knew the camaraderie. The gel that we have together, it's important just in any clubhouse. So for us to be able to just know we can count on each guy, not one guy had to, throw him on the back. It was multiple guys that were just like, look, we're all going to take ship and we're just going to keep running with it.
And I liked what you talked about. I was going to ask a different question, but leading on to that, was it a team meeting? Would you guys come together? Did Espada with what he said, basically, we're going to have to win all these games at one time. And, you guys absolutely dominated now. So it's like, was there one quick instance? Did you guys come together or just, you guys just we went about our business and knew something was going to click?
I mean, we've had meetings, right? We know, you always got to keep that up in the air. We know, we obviously knew that we weren't playing good baseball earlier on, but like I said before, we knew what we had in that room. We knew we continued to play good baseball, put the pieces together. It's going to fall through. And one of the sayings where the cream always rises to the top, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's going to happen.
No doubt. I want to go in the way you pitch. Can you go back in the day for us, thinking when you first time you pick up a glove you throw, you have your own little motion. For you, it's a lot of swing and miss. Did you develop that as you gotten older? Was it a motion where somebody said, hey, let's try this? Or is just the way you've been pitching your whole life and you've just found a pitch that, you've been able to throw and been work for a lot of these years?
The 2-seam, 4-seam fastball that I throw, that's something that I've always done pretty much my entire life. I would say I didn't throw hard, so right, I had to, and also growing up, I only was really able to throw a fastball. My dad wouldn't let me throw any breaking pitches, so I had to learn how to get guys out with the fastball and try and create some deception with my arm angles. And D-Train was one of the guys that I really liked watching. So trying to get his leg kick when I'm 9 years old and trying to throw sidearm over the top. So like really throwing my fastball at different angles. And, once I got obviously a little bit older, kind of realized how hitters approach different at bats. And obviously getting in the pro ball, I knew if I was throwing different arm angles, it's very inconsistent. I can't, command the ball as easy. Guys are taking more pitches. So I wasn't getting the swing and misses. So I found out if I can keep it at a pretty good angle, but not over the top, be able to throw it at the top of the zone, that's going to induce more swing and misses. And then obviously getting more weight, getting more strength, added to velo. So obviously when you have more velo, it's going to, help you on when you miss your spot, whether that's, down the middle or whatever, you still get a little bit of forgiveness with that.
Hey, I've got a teammate question for you from one of our fans in the chat, Bourbon and Baseball. She said, Breggy has been pseudo pitching coach talking to Hunter Brown, Spencer Arrighetti, Yusei Kikuchi about how their pitches play. Has he done any of that with you? And I'll add to this, even if he hasn't, have you seen players work with pitchers to this extent like Bregman does?
Man, I'll tell you, this is probably the only team where I've seen it where we just, talk back and forth. Breggy he loves baseball. He loves the game. He breaks it down so well. But just in general, of all of us going back and forth, kind of getting the perspective of a hitter, I think that's so important. And that's one of the things that I think is highly underrated. Being able to get a perspective, especially from a guy like Breggy, man, he's such a great hitter, and being able to see kind of what his approach is on certain things. And I mean, he watches the game so much, so he knows pretty much every other batter that we're facing, right? So just giving that insight on, how you tunnel pitches, what guys are kind of expecting in certain situations and stuff like that. Man, it's just so important. And for him to, do that with the younger guys, you obviously see what these guys are doing. Our whole staff, starting rotation has been just unbelievable.
Yeah, Arrighetti wins rookie of the month. You win relief pitcher of the month. Like, you guys are kicking it together as a team. The team stuff you've always been about the team stuff. Whit Merrifield just yesterday got hit in the neck, and he was pissed. He was talking about how they've taken away the opportunity for retaliation. They've taken away, any repercussions for pitchers hitting batters. I'm not saying all of them are on purpose. How do you feel about that as a pitcher? In the sense, like, you guys are close as a team. Retaliation. Should there be allowed to be retaliation? What are the rules committee? What should they do? Like, should they tell umpires to not, give warnings out quite so fast?
I think the game will handle itself, right? I think there comes a time and a place when things are going to be handled. Obviously, you got to stick up for your boys no matter what. And we play this game long enough where we know when something's on accident or if it's on purpose. I mean, when you're playing a 3-4 game series and you're getting 2 to 3 guys getting plunked every game, it's like, all right, we got to figure something out, right? Like, this can't be happening. I get sometimes things slip, but when you get up towards that head, man, as a hitter, that's why I don't hit, because I can't be hit. I can't get hit with a ball, man. That's just not me. But man, it's a scary thought, whether it's on purpose or not. Anything above the neck it's just not it.
Yeah, and I think you're 100% right. And I talked about it before. Maybe the guys that develop these kids coming up, they got to find a way to change a couple things. Maybe it's gripping the ball differently, or a better arm angle, something. But I think you're right. I think it just takes care of itself. It might be one of those things where it just happens a lot more because they're throwing harder. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You move on. My question to you, it's kind of a silly question, but when I played third base, when I came to pitcher's mound and I knew the guy was struggling, I'd say something just off the wall, out of nowhere, and just try and be funny with it to make somebody laugh. Have you ever had anybody come up to you and, you're in a tough situation, you walked a couple guys and they came up to you and said, like, hey, man, before you throw this next pitch, true love is blind, and just kind of get you off your game at all? Or no, it's always been serious?
Honestly, I don't remember anything like going too crazy, but No, I think those meetings you just gotta, you gotta relax. I mean, you know
Yeah.
how you speed the game up, and sometimes just a little joke can slow the game down, get you, back into where you need to be. It's important. I mean, you gotta slow the game down because that game speeds up on you real fast, and just have a little humor like that can always, spice it up and get you right.
As a closer, what's the most important stat? Because saves are kind of a thing. Is it wins losses? Is it ERA? Is it Ks? Is it saves? What is it?
Honestly, just getting the win at the end of the day. I don't really know the exact metric that would be the best for a closer, but if you can, as long as you don't have 13, 20 losses, I think at the end of the day, you're good.
Hey, Josh, I got one more for you. What has the reception been like for you in Houston with Astros fans? They've experienced a lot of winning for a long time. So have you had any, conversations with fans when you're on the field, or just anything that's stood out that's made it special to be a part of the Astros? I know when we spoke to you in the offseason before the year started, you were pumped about being on a team that's, like you mentioned, on a dynasty trek here.
Yeah, it's been fun just getting to know all the fans, just all the support. Honestly, just being able to sign autographs, get to know the kids. There's tons of kids out there that just love the Astros, and we do BP passes and bringing kids on the field to be able to just enjoy the moment and be able to experience something that most kids don't get to experience. So I think it's just important just to reach out to the youth and kind of just grow the game as best as possible, because I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I love that. I'm all about the BP passes. The guys are always great too. The teams that do it really nail it, and it makes a huge difference. I'm with you. Josh, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the time. And I just want to shout out, I think maybe back in the offseason, or when you get to the offseason, more videos at Josh Hader, Josh.Hader71 on YouTube, right? The YouTube channel cranking in the offseason.
Yeah, we got to get that cranking in the off season.
Okay.
Big
Deal.
time.
We'll get you some subscribers right now.
Let's
So
go.
everyone in the
Need
chat,
it.
go hit that up. All right. Go win a title. Then you can worry about that in the winter. Okay.
Done deal.
Sounds good. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, appreciate you, fellas. Take care.
You too. That's Josh Hader, AL reliever of the month, and also just thriving with Houston right now. So when I look back, I think it's Houston and the Mets. I think when you go back to like some point in May that have
May
the best
31st.
record. May 31st. That's Houston and the Mets on each side.
Mets are first, Houston second. I think it's like 50, 53 and 30 or something like that.
That sounds about right. I can probably get it too, because I put it in my notes somewhere. But
Might be fit. Yeah. I had 53 and 31, 32, something
yes,
like that.
Yep.
Mets are 53 and 31 since May 30th. Best in baseball, and the Astros are second best and best in the American League during that time period. The Astros one, to me, is not surprising. Going into the year, I was like, oh, this team's going to be really good. I mean, I think not many saw the Rangers being this non-competitive down the stretch. That's fair to say, right? Kratz is kind of thinking. He's doing that Kratz thinking face. And then the Mariners are actually becoming pretty non-competitive. Like, they might finish 5 games below 500 this year. They might take a significant step back. The Astros are currently the only team above 500 in the American League West. So the way the division is shaped up is very interesting. But I will say Houston looks as good as they've ever looked in my mind, because Kyle Tucker's coming back, and they've been doing this without their best overall position player at this point, right?
But let's see what Karl Ravech has to say about it.
Okay.
Ravy
He's ready to
wants
go.
to come in and chat about the Astros. I'm sure he knows a little thing or two about it.
He's covered him here and there. Karl Ravech from ESPN joining us right now. Ravy, what do you think, man? We'll just bring you right into the combo. We're talking about the 2 best teams since the end of May. And how you doing? You got your boy who you've seen quite a bit lately right above you.
I know this little Brady Bunch look. I can see him right up there. He looks good. Good to see that guy right there. What do I think about the Astros? Yeah, I think the Astros are probably the best team in the American League right now. I would think that they would be the favorite. I think it's the Orioles and the Yankees, but the Astros were, in the rear view, and the Astros are now in the front seat. And as you just said, Kyle Tucker comes back. They're getting better. I think Verlander's a bit of a concern. He has not been very good, and I'm not sure that he ever becomes that guy again this season. You're kind of waiting for that start where all of a sudden it clicks, but that hasn't happened yet. And who knew that Yusei Kikuchi was going to be this good? That's one of those things where you love to see it, but as Chris Berman used to say when he would toss it to John Kruk, we knew, but we didn't know. Like, we're not sure what that means, but we didn't know that Yusei Kikuchi was going to be this good. But I think the Astros are as well-rounded a team as they've been in a long time, and I'd probably put them number one in the power rankings in the American League.
Wow, well, that's pretty bold of you. I like that. I like they're hot, Ravy. They're hot. I get it.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't be? Who would you put there? I mean, is that an Orioles Yankees conversation? Yankees have some problems at the back end of that bullpen.
No, till today, yeah, of course, yeah. I think it's Astros and Orioles for sure. The bullpen is man, I don't know. They didn't do anything to get any pieces, and that's the biggest problem they're having right now, because we know they can hit.
Yeah.
But Houston's going to be Houston. My first question to you would be: did you play any pickleball this morning?
It's funny you ask. I had a doctor's appointment. This morning at 10:40. There was an opportunity to play at noon, and I kind of walked in the house, and I said, "I think I'm going to go down there and play." And I got one of those quizzical looks, like, "Really, you're going to go do that today?" It's been pretty consistent, so no, that did not happen today. But it has happened several times since I've been home, and that's one of the goals next year, to get Todd Frazier out on the pickleball court.
I still haven't played, so and I think I'd be all right with it.
You'd be great at it. You got to stop trading pins like 24/7. Take a little break from the pin trading and come on out and play.
I know. I want to talk just a little bit about the Little League World Series. They had since 2015 the most watched game. Man, what do you think? And why do you think this year, for some reason, all of a sudden people are, not necessarily back watching it, but it was like such a big event going on for this year?
Yeah, it's a great question. To me, the event probably crosses more age groups to be viewers than literally any other baseball sport. I mean, college appeals to a particular group. I think the major leagues appeal to, and I know we're trying to grow it and have it appeal to younger people, but I think there's an older group. And I do think with Little League, just walking around my neighborhood here, you can have 80-year-olds and 8-year-olds talk to you about it, and that means anybody in between. And I do think that, I think the 6 innings is a big deal. To me, it's binge watching. I mean, this is how people consume, all of their programs now. And Little League, the World Series, is binge watching. It's 11 nights, and every night you're going to see this fairly entertaining, well played, quick, not too serious, not screaming about another blown save or a guy that couldn't move a runner in, or somebody in college who's so loyal to their program that they're blinded by the bright lights of whatever it might be, some SEC school, and you can't necessarily pay attention or appreciate what's going on the other side. Little League, there's just a joy in it, and I do think that's what attracts people. Why this year any better? To me, and you were there. I thought from the beginning, having seen the regionals, that it was about as wide open a field as we've seen. I'm not sure that translates. I don't know if people care about the competitive part of it, but it did feel like, every game, especially when you get to the second part of the second week, you don't know who's going to win. And it wasn't dominated by the West. We're so used to seeing California / Hawaii. That wasn't going to happen this year. And maybe that contributed to it. But the kids from Lake Mary were a fun group of kids, easy to gravitate to. And Julie Foudy's, a superstar. She makes it enjoyable, and it's a good cross kind of pollination of different people doing it. And I think there's some appeal to a larger group.
What's the one thing that Major League Baseball can glean from the Little League World Series?
Great question, Kratzy, because Foudy has gone to our president and said, I wish more of our events could be treated that way. Now, that's her personality, and and God love her for it. And we'd all benefit if we could kind of live the way that Julie Foudy lives her life. It's a great question. I'm not certain that there are things they could take from it, because you understand the price that these guys, and the pressure that they're under and the contracts and all those things that never come up when you're talking about Little League for obvious reasons. I don't know how you do that other than perhaps you try to make the actual broadcast more enjoyable. Clearly, there's something about the Lamade Stadium experience. You don't get that. Ballparks, as unique as they may be to each other, there's still 35 to 50,000 in there. And, this Little League ball field is wildly unique. And I think it's one of those places that people would like to go visit. And probably a larger group would like to go see that. So you watch it on television as opposed to saying, I want to go to all 30 Major League ballparks. I don't know how you would take the joy and the innocence, the mistakes that are part of it and make it more enjoyable and hard to watch. I mean, God, after that final game, the number of people who came up to me and said, I can't believe, that the kids from Chinese Taipei did that. They didn't say it like you would insult a major league player for doing it. Like, what the hell was he throwing the ball to? There's nobody. It was more of like, we can relate to it. We understand it. It stinks for them. They're great kids. They, it's a great question. I don't know how you can take those aspects and bring it to the major leagues. I don't think that that's really possible, which is what I think makes the Little League such a unique event.
What do you think the urgency has to do with this conversation? And I mean that by, it being a long season, because I know that comes up every once in a while, Ravy, and you're really good on those global topics within the sport. But whenever someone's like, oh, we should shorten the season, it's like, does it really make a difference if you shave 5, 10, 12 games off the season? It's still going to feel long in the dog days of summer. It's not going to be like, oh my goodness, we suddenly have to all strap in. We've got 154.
Right. Yeah, and it gets a hell of a lot longer if your team stinks, like the White Sox. I mean, it's long in May. So you can't do it for all teams, but your point's well made. And look, I remember urgency is the word that I would always use when there was either labor strife or people confused and bothered by the game. And prior to its most recent changes, when we were post-pandemic 7-inning doubleheaders, that is the word I would always use with regards to Little League, is that innings 3 and 4 are critical innings because there's only 6 of them. And when we had 7-inning games, the urgency in innings 3, 4, and 5 were much greater than they feel like in a 9-inning game. And how you get more urgency into each game, each month, that's always been the word that I would use. And I was a big advocate for 7-inning games because of urgency. I want to sit there in the 5th inning and feel like this really matters. And when you have 2 more innings, it seems to, and I'm sure there are going to be analytics that show similarly that, a game in April means the same as it does in September. I understand that in a mathematical sense, but there's absolutely no way that the athlete, and both your guys can speak to it, that a game in April feels as intense, as important as a game in mid to late September. It doesn't. Does it mean 1 win and 1 loss? Yes, but it's absolutely not. Played the game and the pressure is different. Urgency is huge, and that was why I was a fan of the 7-inning games for that reason only. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings just seem to mean a lot more because the end is coming a lot quicker.
Yeah, and you would see a lot more like bunting, getting a guy over, like small ball, all that stuff, which is part of baseball, and I think is awesome. The part you saw in the League World Series, the guy they won on a bunt, basically. So I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit. You just did the Philadelphia, and you were just in Philly. Talk to us about the atmosphere there for one, and for two, do you think this team can make a run here to get a World Series?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I would guess that today, if you asked me, similarly to the Astros in the American League, look, the Dodgers are healthy again. Muncie's a huge bat in that lineup. It'll be really interesting to see what they're going to continue to get out of Buehler, and the X factor in all of it is whether Yamamoto or Glasnow come back. The Phillies are absolutely on line one. I happen to believe that the Padres are a line one team. If you're asking me to kind of go out, and I'm not sure it's a limb, but I'd say Astros, Padres, World Series, knowing that the Dodgers are absolutely as good when healthy. The Phillies are absolutely as good. But Darvish is coming back for San Diego. They have an unbelievable bullpen. Their lineup is crazy good. And they just haven't been able to put it all together and really compete in the postseason. And that may have to happen for them. The Phillies have competed in a postseason and come up short. And look, I think that all these teams go through those lulls, and I think Philly is coming off of one of those lulls. And when you got Schwarber doing what he did last night, they got to get Harper, right. They need more consistency from Turner. They got to get Bohm back and hitting consistently. But yeah, Philadelphia's bullpen is tremendous. Dombrowski did a phenomenal job. But those are the three teams to me that I would put on that first line: Philadelphia, San Diego, and the Dodgers.
All right, so you talk about first-line teams. One of the first things we talked about was the Astros. You have the Astros-Diamondbacks game this weekend, correct?
Yeah.
Now, when you go into Joe Espada's office, can you ask him, are you in a place where you can tell Justin Verlander he's not starting a playoff game if Justin Verlander doesn't turn it around?
You're asking if I would ask that question?
Yeah.
Kratzy, ask Frazier if I would ask that question. Of course I would ask that. Of course I would ask that. Why wouldn't I ask that question? And yeah, I think it's rather obvious that that's not a dependable. Certainly, game 1, 2, and if you happen to end up in a short series, which it certainly doesn't look like they're going to do the way Seattle is playing. But look, they could be a wild card team depending on how that season finishes. If they finish with the third best record in the league, yeah, that's a hard one, man. To sit there and say he should be going in games 1, 2, or more especially game 3. But absolutely, that's a question I would ask. And look, they've I just saw Hader on. They've clearly got some kids there that are pitching really well. Framber has proven himself, and the jury's out. I don't know. We're going to see DeGrom come back for Texas. They're not making the playoffs, but how many starts would you need out of Jacob DeGrom to say, okay, he's ready to pitch in the postseason as a starter? To me, he's still ramping up, and there's been no evidence that suggests he's ready to give you 7 innings of one-run ball. Now, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 more starts. We'll see. I hope we get him on Sunday night. There's a chance of that. I'd love to see the great Verlander again. I would. I think baseball is better when the stars are being stars. But absolutely, that would be a question we'd ask. I guess I would frame it like, what do you need to see out of Verlander to use him as a starter in a postseason series?
Okay, so you wouldn't have just asked, Joe, do you have enough hair on your chest to tell Justin Verlander he's not on the roster?
If you'd like me to ask it that way, I'll record it and then send it in to you guys so you can see that I asked it with hair on your chest. I have no problem doing that. I know this. Knowing Joe, he would laugh at it, but then he'd answer it, and he'd probably answer it as if I asked it the other way. But I'm going to try to remember hair on your chest.
Well, Ravy, the backstory real quick is that these guys were giving me a lot of crap yesterday for a, quote, hot take that Justin Verlander right now doesn't deserve to be in the playoff rotation for them. And I was like, he would kind of say the same thing. He said his mechanics are out of whack. He doesn't look good. It's a small sample size. I get it. But they've got like 5 good starters right now. And I can make a case for at least 3, like you mentioned, stuff-wise, that are very far ahead of him at the moment in Framber, Hunter Brown, and Kikuchi at least. And we could keep going on Arigedian and even Ronel Blanco pitching well. But I think there's at least 3 in front of him that he's going to have to show some serious progress.
So, Kratzy, you have enough hair on your chest to start Verlander in one of these games ahead of those guys?
Oh, I don't care. That's why nobody's gonna ever want me as a manager because I wouldn't care. I'd put the best guys out there. The argument was that he won't do it because he just has that much cachet. You wouldn't do it to Kershaw. You wouldn't do
I
it
would.
to Kershaw.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like today, I'm not sure. Again, give me the rest of the month, and give me an improved Bueller and let's say Yamamoto or Glasnow come back. Clayton Kershaw is not starting in one of those first 3 games for me. No, and I don't think Kershaw would get in the way of that either. I don't think he'd get in the way of that either.
But I think Verlander, as a veteran, I think you give him 1 start, even if it stays this way for him, in my opinion.
So there we go. That was kind of the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well,
yeah,
why would you in a short series why would you do that why would you do that when you have somebody else this season who over the long term has proven himself to be better? And let's say you're down 2 games to none, and now you want that. I don't even feel fair to Verlander to me. But you may be right. You've all been in clubhouses. Joe Torre's probably managed that way. Franco. I understand they owed the nod to a veteran, but when the veteran is healthy and pitching well, I wouldn't see it today. Give him 3 more starts and things could change, but I wouldn't see it today.
Well, either way you put it, they're going to make whatever decision they want. But my wife tonight is making lemon chicken, and I thought about
boom, yeah.
Hey, we go to this place called Franco's in Williamsport, and Ravy got me on this spot for the last 3 years. And first time I had the lemon chicken, and it was to die for. And I'm like, I'm going to make Ravy jealous before he leaves here. So I'll send you a picture.
I am jealous. I'll tell you, it is like chicken piccata. They do it a little bit differently there, and you can get it with or without pasta or in any event. You ever go to dinner with Frazier? You could be in the middle of like the longest, best, deep conversation ever, and as soon as that plate gets put down in front of him, he shuts it. There is no more talking. We are there to eat, and then as soon as the meal's over, we ain't small talking either. We are walking back. We're done.
That's right. That's right. You want to impress Todd Father too? I'll tell you this. Show up with a big appetite. I went to eat with Top Father right in Cincinnati, and I was like, "Don't challenge me, bro." And he saw.
I wear my Walter Johnson sweater I just got, and we're ready to rock. Us and Timmy Kirkman all day.
Awesome having you on. Really appreciate the time. Have a great call on Sunday. We'll be watching Astros and Diamondbacks on ESPN. And
thanks, fellas. Kratzy, I got you covered, man. Hair on the chest. I got you covered, buddy.
Let Joe know I told you to say it.
See you, buddy.
Love that. See ya. Thanks, Ravy.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, that's Hader, then Ravech, and then Ken Rosenthal next on FT. Have a day.
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Let's finish strong, literally here. Anytime Fitness, new to the party here with the FT fam. Let's go, Todd Father. Let's go. So here's the deal. You hit the website, you find where you're going locally, and you're good. Forearms? Was that you? What do you do for the forearms?
That's all I got. Rice bucket. I hold the 45-pound weight and kind of move it around a little bit. But I haven't done that in a long time, so.
Do you do the one on the rope?
Oh yeah, those are the best for it. But I don't have the bar. I don't have that. I got to figure. Kratzy, you can make that for me. You and the Amish over there. You make some really good things. Tell them I need one of those.
I'd bring it to your house so you could log on to the Anytime Fitness app. But I know it would just sit in your. You need something. Like get on this app, scan the QR code. It's on the screen right now. Get on there, get some accountability, Todd. Be accountable to yourself. Don't talk about needing some milkshakes, needing all this stuff. It's time. You can get your lemon chicken, you can get your bicep curls on the Anytime app, and you can track both nutrition, fitness, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I need it. My cholesterol's up a little bit too. I got to get that down.
Come on, stop. Put it on the app. They'll let you know.
Go.
I'm telling you, just do it.
That's right.
Do it. It's easy.
He's got a point. Good news. 5,000 plus locations worldwide, 24/7 gym access, and also they focus on body intelligence, sleep data, health metrics, nutrition, recovery. Yeah. Must I go on? hit the website, okay? FT fam, show a little support for FT. At least check out where you can find a local Anytime Fitness. There it is. Be sure to check out the Anytime Fitness locations via the link in today's episode description, or if you're watching live right now, I will drop a link in the YouTube chat to claim your free trial pass. Wherever you are, you can probably find yourself a little Anytime Fitness nearby. Be right back with Ken Rosenthal. It's the Inside Scoop with FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal joining us right now. And I know sometimes we kind of tell Ken a few things we definitely want to bring up with him, and then sometimes some things, just pop into our head. I usually try and be a little bit nice, but I am going to bring something up that kind of sparked discussion, at least behind the scenes here. And Ken, it has to do with Chris Sale, off-season pickups and off-season news. Do you think that as an industry, fans, media, etc., we hyped up Chris Sale enough going to the Atlanta Braves at the time? I know that's kind of a layup question, but overlooked offseason moves that could decide seasons for teams. This has to be at the top. I know probably Soto up there too, but this one's more under the radar, even though it's a big name.
Absolutely, we underestimated the value of Sale to the Braves, but it was understandable at the time given the history of injuries that he had had and all the things that he had dealt with in recent seasons. He hadn't done pitch like this in a long time. So it was fair for people to question whether this was a good trade or not. The irony of it is, what do the Red Sox need more than anything right now? Well, they need offense, but they could use Chris Sale too. And the player they got back for him, Vaughn Grissom, really has not contributed this year, though he might in the future. And I wouldn't condemn the trade from the Red Sox perspective just yet, but while the Braves believed that Sale was on the verge of this, I don't know that many people in the game did. And I don't know that you even could have trusted it because of the injuries that he has had, some of which were flukish, granted, but at the same time, it had been a while.
Let's stay on the Braves a little bit, and I agree. Like, there's always one or two guys where it's like, oh, man, we didn't see that coming. That's just the nature of anything in sports, in life, whatever. But what do you think, Braves' chances playoffs-wise? Do you think, the way they've been playing, you think they got a good shot of, making a little run at this thing?
It's really interesting, Todd, because the Mets are obviously playing really well right now. And can the Mets catch the Braves? Absolutely, they can. I still like the Braves. I still like them in large part because of their rotation, and it's been really good. Now, they are offensively challenged without Albie still, hopefully mid-September for him, and without Riley, most likely for the rest of the regular season. The guys they've brought in, the release players like Merrifield and Urshela, have done a terrific job, and I'm forgetting Laureano there. But at the same time, this is an uphill fight in some ways, even though they control their destiny by holding the third wild card position. I love what they've done. I totally admire it. Iglesias has been great at the back end. It's going to be really interesting in these final few weeks to see if they can hold off the Mets. They have this amazing pedigree of winning. It's much like Houston in the American League. And as we've seen, it's kind of hard to knock them out.
It is kind of hard to knock them out, especially when a front office like Alex Anthopoulos, year in and year out, back to 2014, it didn't work when he was with the Jays, to 15 and 16, it did work. And he started to learn, and now he's doing that with the Braves. How, with everything that they've seen in Toronto, meaning the, Alex Anthopoulos and when he pushes in and when a team has an opportunity to win, how can they still stay with, to me, an underachieving front office like Ross Atkins and what he has built up there? How can they continue to stay with that for another year?
I wrote about this somewhat yesterday, and in that story, I quoted Mark Shapiro, their team president, as saying they value continuity and stability. It's actually a competitive advantage to have those things in the game today. I don't disagree with that in theory, but the situation that they're in right now, and the situation that a number of other clubs are in, I wrote about this as well. It's curious to me that there is not more heat. And I can go through these clubs individually. I don't know that we have time for that. But just look at Toronto, for example. Haven't won a playoff game under this regime. And they've been in place, I believe, since 16. And they've had a really disappointing season. You would think that maybe change would be healthy for the organization. Maybe you just need a new voice at the top of the chain here. But that does not seem to be their inclination. And seems that they feel they can run the club back next year, essentially the same club, with some additions, of course, in the offseason, and try again. This group, to me, has not done it. I don't know why you would think they're going to do it. And if you don't make a move with Guerrero or Bichette in the offseason, and I don't expect them to, they didn't do it at the deadline when they could have traded them with 2 pennant races remaining. Well, then where are you? Those guys most likely are going to walk. And then you're having a situation where you don't have even compensation for them other than draft picks. So Toronto has been very curious to me. I don't really understand their logic here. And I'm not talking about necessarily advocating for the firing of Atkins. I'm talking about the whole thing, where they seem to feel they're in a much better place than maybe the rest of the industry feels.
Yeah, it's strange when you look at their viewpoint, and also some of those players are going to get more expensive. If you keep them, obviously they're going to get much more expensive if you sign guys like Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr. long term. So my follow-up question here, Ken, is why not make a change? If owners of teams like that are doing well, right, and they're making a lot of money, and so they're not too concerned and they want continuity, well, then the next phase would be, how can we make more money? Well, winning would make you more money. It would be more fans in seats. It would be playoff games. So there is incentive to do even better, even if some of these ownership groups don't care that much about the actual baseball being played on the field. The one other layer here that I think about is why not invest in the non-player personnel? Some teams do it really well, right? The Rays are one of those model examples where some people say, hey, they spend just as much behind the scenes as some of the big boys. They just don't spend on the player personnel. I think on the other end of the spectrum, you see teams like the White Sox, the A's, and the Angels not taking care of things internally. So that's why I think like this is the way that you can actually win cheaper. Why wouldn't you want to make a change in your front office or just invest more in everything else behind the scenes?
Scott, that's a good argument. And I would say that there might be incentive for them to make changes and do that with the idea of winning and, of course, making even more money. But as I noted in that column yesterday, there isn't much pressure. And that's the thing. Everybody's kind of comfortable. And the status quo is okay. Fans keep coming. We keep playing. And maybe some years we'll get lucky, get a wild card. And maybe some years we won't. And that's fine. I'm kind of just relaying what my impression is of ownership's position, not just there, but in other places as well. And the problem with this is, what do you tell fans? Well, I can't tell fans, don't go to baseball games. Everybody loves going to baseball games. You love seeing your favorite team play. So a boycott is not necessarily realistic, but it seems to me that teams won't respond unless there is financial pressure. Now, St. Louis is an interesting question in this regard, because their attendance has gone down, especially in the last month. They're still a big draw. They still do really well, top 10 in attendance. But I'd be alarmed if I were their organization and was seeing the apathy that has set in that great baseball town. It's hard to do. And yet the fans there seem pretty fed up. And as I noted in this column yesterday, fans in Seattle are fed up. Toronto and St. Louis, we mentioned. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Other teams and other cities as well. There's a lot of exasperation out there. And I'm not saying you make moves to just react to fans. That would be kind of dumb, right? You can't do that. And I know in an age of social media, there's more noise than ever. And you have to stay the course if you're an organization and believe in what you're doing. At the same time, they're your customers. So why not at least look at doing some things differently?
Interesting. Very interesting. You never know what is going on behind the scenes. So for me, we have the NL Rookie of the Year race, and it's starting to heat up a little bit. You know, Jackson Merrill, Paul Skeens. In your opinion, you know, without saying who you think should win, but as of right now, like, Who do you think has the upper hand?
Well, don't forget Jackson Chourio either. And he's had a remarkable 3 months for the Brewers. His season kind of mirrors Merrill's in some ways. Both those guys weren't great in the first 2 months. Merrill was better than Chourio, but not much better and not like crazy good. And yet, since around June 1st, they've both been dominant players. And Merrill has that late clutch thing going on with the home runs. And Chourio, right now, I believe since June 2nd, third in the National League, or third in the majors in OPS behind only Ohtani and Judge. Both play center field. So don't forget Chourio in this conversation. Now, what's really interesting is how voters will value position players in up-the-middle spots like Chourio and Merrill against a pitcher like Skeen, who is now throwing fewer innings, but Skeens is still dominant. So I don't know how this is going to go, and it's kind of an apples and oranges thing, which makes the vote that much more fascinating. Skeens is a much different Rookie of the Year candidate than Chourio or Merrill. He's a pitcher. He's a dominant pitcher. He's been a guy who's had a tremendous impact on his team and the sport. And yet, as I wrote this morning in the windup, I'm not sure he's going to finish higher than third because those two center fielders have been so good.
And he's got a lot on the line, too, which you can see in the windup because he would get that full year of service time if he finishes in first or second for Rookie of the Year. That can affect really the future of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So my last question here on that is, should we have a Rookie Pitcher of the Year award? I mean, some other leagues do it that way, right? Like the NFL will hit the rookie on offense, the rookie on defense. It's hard to compare. And I also give a ton of credit to Skeens because he never struggled, right? Like Chourio's young, that's how it is. Like he struggled for the first couple months. Should we just be separating this for the future? Has there ever been a thought?
No, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that in the MVP situation either, where you do have a separate award, Cy Young, but you still consider pitchers for MVP. To me, Scott, the more choices there are, the more debate there is, the better the situation as far as the awards are concerned. And I know it might not produce the fairest outcomes, but it produces the most conversation. And that is the beauty of baseball to me, that we have all these debates and conversations. Who's more valuable, Paul Skeens or Jackson Merrill? I don't know, but we're going to decide that, or at least the voters for that award are going to decide that. So I'm good with the way things are. The awards seemingly have more value this way, then they're not diluted. But I understand what you're saying. And in this particular season, it kind of would make sense, right? But nah, I like it like this.
Yeah, it's a good call. I mean, we have to remember what makes the sport attractive, too, from a debate standpoint. And we're talking about it now because it's difficult to decipher, and we'll talk about it in November, too. Everyone check out the article, too, and the work in The Athletic from Ken, including that little note in the windup that he wrote about to kind of go in depth on this race and the situation with the NL Rookie of the Year right now. Ken, thank you very much. Appreciate you, and we will see you on Fair Territory live tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
And Fair Territory from yesterday occurred because we had Labor Day on Monday. We observed Labor Day. So there's a fresh episode with more on what we discussed. We did some follow-up questions. So if you want the original part of the discussion, go there. And Thursday, 12:30 Eastern, live Fair Territory on the FT YouTube channel. Hey, we'll do better than box scores next on Clay Holmes when the TV crowd comes back. So while we have 2 minutes here, did you guys see this Pat Murphy story from Tom Verducci? I mean, Kratz, you played for him, so we'll get you on a comment here after I read it. So Tom wrote, another time the Brewers were locked in a one-run game with the Dodgers in the 6th inning when speedy outfielder Garrett Mitchell reached first with a 2-out walk. The pitcher was Glasnow, who slowed to the plate. It was an obvious steal situation. It was Rhys Hoskins at the plate. It took 2 pitches to allow Mitchell to run. Mitchell didn't move. Hoskins gave Mitchell a confused look as to say, when are you going to run? Hoskins fouled the next 2 pitches. Finally, Murph yells from the first base dugout to Freddie Freeman, Freddie, will you tell Mitchell to run on this pitch? That is gold.
Hilarious. This is what Murph does. Obviously, that's not how he's going to send the sign in. But it's also like he expects you as a young guy or as a veteran to understand how we're going to play the game and what's next. And he does it with some brevity. He does it with some humor. But that doesn't mean because he's making jokes and everything, we need a more serious manager. No. This is how it connects with these guys. They'll remember it way more than hey, what are you doing? Come on, man. Like he kind of like chastises them without really bringing them down. It's awesome. It is exactly how I would manage, except I would be way more handsome doing it.
Wow.
But you got to bring the humor. I love that, Top Father. It's a long season. What's wrong?
He's not handsome. Yeah, you have to be
I thought you said he had
humorous.
bad breath, which you maybe want to avoid if you're a manager too. You got to do a lot of close conversations in
lot.
your office.
Yep.
Kratzy will be a manager one day, and I promise you, I'm going to be right above the dugout heckling the ever-loving you-know-what out of him, and it's going to be...
No, you're going to be
great.
on this show, Top Father, being like, did you see what he did? I can't believe he brought in so-and-so in the 8th last night.
Yep.
You ain't going to no big league games because there's no big league games in Tom's River. You don't get out of the bubble. You're like that movie with Jim Carrey where he never leaves his home.
Yeah, I went to one game this year, Kratzy. Cut it out.
Yep.
Anyway, whatever. I don't even know what we're talking about. Just know that when you become a manager, boo that man, boo that man, boo that man.
Todd Father's logged some games this year, actually, no joke. He's called Yankee games. He's been at Reds with us. Little League World Series. He's probably logging 30 plus.
Stop.
It's gotta be.
Stop, Todd.
Don't be jealous, spread like relish.
Better than box scores, one burning topic. The Yankees 50-22 on June 14th, 30-37 since. Clay Holmes has blown 11 saves. It's by far the most in baseball. Gave up the walk-off granny to Wyatt Langford last night. Yanks half game back of Baltimore. Now what, Todd Father? Because the options to replace him are not really there.
No, it's not. And it's sad because he's such a good dude. He knows how to pitch. It just seems like he just throws a lot of pitches, a lot of balls. And guys are like, you know what? We know it's going to move. So wherever it starts, it's not going to start there. And they're taking, and sometimes they're getting the pitches too off the edge. And then, a single up the middle. And you look at him like, oh, that's a line out to Glaber. And he was playing way over in the hole. And then the wheels fell off after that. And it was just, oh, man. And you could just tell a walk, 2 walks, a single, like whatever. I forget. I was watching it too. I was trying to put my kids to bed. And then I come into the room and my son actually fell asleep. I'm like, oh, and that happened. I just turned the TV off. I walked away and I'm like, honey, you want me to do anything? Because I'm not going to bed for a little while. So I had to clean the whole house. So anyway, it is, it's tough. They don't have the pieces. They have a couple guys. Cousins looked really good yesterday, but they need a couple more guys, and it just doesn't seem to click right now.
No, they could have used a high leverage reliever. They didn't do it. So Leiter hasn't pitched well since he joined them. Yeah, Cousins has been good. Warren's been bad. Weaver's been okay, but they just don't have that guy. So anyway, we'll talk more about it tomorrow too. But Clay Holmes is struggle city right now. Couldn't throw strikes, and then the hanging slider. Langford was all over it. Let's speed through some BetMGM locks. The day before this, Todd Father, we all hit. Yesterday, we all missed.
And this is when I don't care about the day before. This is embarrassing. Let's go.
Well, then we got to clean it up because we got 2 minutes for this. So you're up first, Mr. 4,000 plus.
What did I tell you guys from the get-go? You ride the hot wave. And who's hot? Beat the Mets, meet the Mets, step right up. And I don't care who's pitching. I didn't even look. I'm taking the Mets money line minus 130. 390 to win 300. Let's go. Minus 130 is not that much. Mets, W. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Easy.
Great job.
I'm going Willie Adames. Willie Adames has been hot against Sonny Gray. So I'm going over 1.5 hits, runs, or RBIs at plus plus 110, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, plus 110. Todd's minus 110. How much you throwing down, by the way? And it's Houck versus Tyler McGill for Mets Red Sox. What are you throwing down? Todd,
He said
how much you throwing
330.
down tonight?
Oh, I messed up. It's
Three-
minus 110. Yeah, 330 to win 300.
He said
Excuse me.
330. Yeah.
330. Okay. I got Yanks tonight. It's almost even money. Minus 105 to win a hundo. Stroman versus Evaldi. Pretty even there. Judge has been cold for now a week. Cold. Hasn't hit a home run in a week. So I just think the offense lights it up after a tough loss. And
Wow.
Holmes isn't going to pitch tonight. So you at least have some other dudes at the back end of the bullpen today. So we'll see what happens.
All
I got
right.
a Yanks bounce back win against a mid-Rangers team.
New York parlay. Here we go.
That's
Kratzy,
right.
whatever you do with that, that's child's play. We'll stick to the real guns here. You got to pick teams, man. This is hard. It's hard.
I would think about parlaying this whole deal, though. I would. Also, if you're in the BetMGM app, you can swing for the fences to win daily prizes. Play as the batter, pick an area of the strike zone, single, double, triple, homer, fly out. And if you get one of those successful outcomes, then reward types include odds boost tokens, SGP boost tokens, and bonus bets. All rewards expire in 24 hours. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Coming right back on FT to Slap. Let's slap. By the way, on Friday, we'll get a little recap of this Mets Red Sox series with Reed Garrett in that bullpen for the New York Metropolitans. So we'll talk to him. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube right now, and even if you're not, you can watch us, there you go, before FT. The FT YouTube channel has Fair Territory live, 12:30 Eastern time, before our FT show runs every single Thursday. Go check that out if you have questions for Kenny Ballgame. And Kratz, let's do Kratz test. Just show it, but you can't say anything because we have 10 seconds. I just want to see what it looks like.
Omaha Storm.
Whoa. Boom. There you go. Nice. Looks like Sonic the Hedgehog's rings.
Omaha!
YouTube, we're staying. We're staying, YouTube crowd. Here we are. We're still here for the YouTube folks. So just wrapping up a couple other things. First off, Kratz, did you want to comment on what you would do when you're a manager one day, if you're dealing with the Clay Holmes slumpy slump right now, but your front office didn't really arm you with that much to be able to back it up?
I'm a manager. I don't care what my front office arms me with. You could give me whatever team. I'm going to believe and go down with each one of these dudes. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to talk to Clay Holmes probably for about the 100th time that I've talked to him, just like every other player. And I'm going to talk to him and be like, this isn't a you thing. This is an us thing. We need everybody pushing in the same direction. I'm going to give Tommy Kahnle a shot. I'm going to give Kirk Cousins a shot. I'm going to give, this is not, I know who you mean. I know.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins. It's a better NFL starts tomorrow. So, but anyway, it's not about Clay Holmes getting the saves. It's about who wants to step up and take this team to the World Series. And while they might not be playing for like playoff spot, they're playing for where they're going to be in the playoffs. There's some guys that are auditioning for the World Series right now for this Yankees team if they want to make it that far.
Mm-hmm. It's a good call. And then also, I'll flip it over to the Royals losing again yesterday. That was my bet. That was a loser. They've lost 7 in a row, Todd Father. Cleveland has gained some separation again. Remember, KC and Cleveland were tied about a week ago for first, and Kansas City hasn't won since. And Vinny Pasquantino is a heart and soul guy, too. Like Bobby Witt Jr. is the guy there, but he's on the quieter side. Vinny P is a talker. He's kind of a vibes guy, right? So you lose that right now for the next several weeks at least, and you're feeling it for KC, even though they tried to get some supplements to kind of hold off the offense falling apart. But it's falling apart right now. Cleveland's won 5 of 6. They held them to, what was it, a run yesterday? They blew them out.
Yeah. They're 5.5 out of their division, but they're still 4.5 ahead in the wild card. So I wouldn't be pressing that much, but losing 7 in a row, the tide's got to turn, and I'm starting right now.
Yeah. Also, props to the Oakland A's, who have the second best record since July 1st, 31-22. They put back-to-back walk-offs together against the Mariners. Mariners are absolutely going through it right now. I feel like I say this every day, but we're not going to spend a ton of time on it. We've spent a ton of time on it, and we're going to talk about them this offseason. We're going to talk about that team. Bye-bye. Yeah, they're cooked. Hot sheet coming up next. If you have prospect questions, this should be a fun one. We're going over some of the top prospects in the sport and which one you want to build your career around if you're the general manager on that 5 or 10 or 15-year plan. We'll see you on Thursday.